least for now. But Brett Yormark with some nuggets in that interview with John Orand and also with Andrew Marchand, including this one. Because remember, this was a part of the discussion for a long, long time until the Big 12 expanded with Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah. And this kind of was out there that, yeah, Brett Yormark saying, no, that time has passed. They looked at it, but now where they are, they had the dream scenario that happened. And so UConn and Gonzaga, that discussion ended when they had the 4 schools add to the Big 12.
Yeah, you kind of felt that was going on, and I'm sure UConn was sitting there thinking, like, here we are. We're right at the gates. We are sitting outside, ready to go. Just as soon as you call, like if you called and said, hey, you want to come over to the house? We're like, I'm around the block. Well, it's weird you called. I was just getting something. They were ready to go, but, obviously not a place for them now. And another thing, and kind of an offshoot of that when it comes to Gonzaga and UConn that he said in the interview, is that he believes that they're getting 25 cents on the dollar for basketball of what it's worth. And that's one of the reasons that UConn and Gonzaga were attractive, because he felt that their additions could get them up to getting $1 on the dollar for what basketball is worth. But obviously you have the dream scenario for football. These are, this is exactly what had to happen. And for them to grow, that it was the perfect scenario. It was everything he laid out. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that the door was shut on Gonzaga and UConn after that.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to the Niche Group for being here. Appreciate y'all for checking us out and all y'all support as well. But I think I speak for some segment of the Big 12 fans on this story by saying I'm kind of glad. I mean, honestly, and, I don't like this for UConn fans. I don't like this for Gonzaga fans. I know there was a segment, at least, of UConn fans that I came across on social media that seemed excited by the idea. I know there's also a lot of them that didn't want to do it, that just didn't see the appeal of leaving their home where they just won a basketball national title and didn't see the benefit of suddenly stretching themselves out like that. So I don't think that, this is like a crushing blow for the entire fan base for either one of these teams, but certainly for segments of them. I think for people who were wish casting that, they'd end up in the Big 12, whether to have their opinion or prediction proven right or because they think it would have been a good idea either way. Maybe it's a little bit disappointing, but I don't know. I think I might speak for the majority of people, actually. We can ask the chat. What's up, chat? And ask, anybody else that wants to chime in as they, check in and out of the replay of this. I'm good with it. I like the setup the way that it is. You've added 8 schools in 2 years. You just added 4 from the Pac-12. And that league's now just trying to basically survive. So I don't see the rush to go, hey, let's add basketball-only schools, or let's just keep adding and adding, because eventually, as much food as you keep putting on the table, the more and more mouths, the less and less food for each person. Mm-hmm. So if this is about making money, then adding, more and more schools to dilute the pie that aren't bringing something extra to the table, I think is kind of going against what your whole mission is. So, unfortunate for those who were hoping that would be the case, but maybe down the line, that's something they can revisit.
About 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, whenever it was, I remember I was talking to those who at least might know about how serious it was. They were on the radar. But I also said that I got a quote from a Big 12 administrator that said they're not anywhere or they're not in the foreseeable future. And some UConn fans were a little bit not upset about it. I think more than anything frustrated. In fact, Greg, Sons of Nutmeg on Twitter, sent me this today when that story came out. I sent him the link yesterday. He said, I saw it, that sucked, but just like I tweeted, it's our own fault. This is a UConn fan, in that we're now paying the price for 3 terrible head coaching hires in the last decade that led to the downfall of football at UConn. If we had been doing what Jim Mora is now for years, this probably wouldn't be the scenario we are in.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's probably, kind of like a South Florida situation. If we had done more sooner, then it wouldn't be where it is now. And, that's unfortunate. We talked about that at length yesterday. So if you're a school that kind of sat on your hands, you are potentially paying the price for it right now. And I don't know how much UConn did that in comparison to the Bulls, program, because that's pretty well documented. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some people disappointed. If you're a UConn football fan, then this was a great opportunity. I don't know how much I bought into the idea. I definitely was pretty adamant of I don't like this idea, nor do I think I said I don't believe this idea initially when the story started to gain some sizzle, because it just didn't make sense when you were in pursuit of the other 4. So it felt like a leverage play, right? I think it's like the way we probably talked about it too, was this sounds like them putting that out in the media, the Big 12 or whoever, to get the Pac schools to go okay, well, we better. And what, a week later, not even that, the 4-pack schools are, in less than 2 weeks in the Big 12. So, that kind of felt like a leverage play and not really like we have to get this done soon. So, probably some hopes got up there, and that's unfortunate, but that's also kind of part of the politics of this whole thing.
It is. Like, if you look at USF, and UConn, I think that there's some overlap there. UConn's more about, they kind of forgot about football for a long time. They had a nice little run, and then they had, like you said, 3 bad head coaching hires. USF, really just had one hire that didn't work out for them football-wise. They were, we had Matt Baker on from the Tampa Bay Times and said, if you're making this move in 2017, people are thinking maybe USF is a team you want to go get. They've had one short little bad stretch. What I do think happened with USF is they hit the throttle down on getting the AAU the last 15 to 20 years. And they were playing in an NFL stadium, and about 12 years ago, that was still kind of a cool thing to do, is to, hey, we play in this NFL stadium. And then it's dramatically shifted to, well, you better be on campus, or you better have a cool on-campus facility. Miami's kind of going through that a little bit right now. I kind of liken USF to Arizona State. The only difference is Arizona State, who also got in the AAU same time as USF, they were already in a power conference, so they kind of neglected the athletics, as we heard on Phil Bennett's end, because they were like, well, we're fine, and that's what kind of got them in a new conference, is because their president long believed that the Pac-12 was fine.
And they have a history. I know USF had that team that got the number 2 in the country. I get all that. But one of the other things, and I think I told you and shared this story, I might have been on my way to Florida at the time, is that the concern in the Big 12 about Brett Yormark, he was very serious about UConn. Now, that wasn't like his first choice, but he was very serious, and Colorado had just happened. One of the concerns from some in the Big 12 was that Yormark had developed so much equity, had built up so much equity with Colorado, the way he's handled the conference, renewing the contract with Fox and ESPN, that if he would have brought UConn to a vote, he probably would have not gotten enough votes. And then there's the black eye. And it takes away some of that momentum. It never got to that point. So there it is with UConn, and also with Gonzaga, which was always kind of a shot in the dark.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed this, but does Twitter not seem like way quieter the last few days than it normally has?
It's gotten boring, but I like it.
It's kind of boring, because it just felt like there was so much stuff flying left and right, and now it's kind of slowed down to a crawl, and maybe even not even a peep as football season gets underway. But yeah, I was commenting on that yesterday. It just seems like when I look on my phone now or something, it's still very active. Don't get me wrong. It's just not as fast and furious with rumors as it was, the last several months. So that's been interesting. But yeah, UConn fans, hate it for you guys. I really do. I know we've come across a lot of fan bases who have, seen that door of opportunity crack open, and they've been able to kick it down. And we've seen, 4 of those schools that'll be joining the Big 12 this year were ones that did that. And then, sometimes it's been slammed on some teams like a USF, like Memphis, like a Boise State. So, if you've got that opportunity, you got to take advantage of it, and maybe another one will come their way. But yeah, this one just didn't seem, for a variety of reasons, like it just made a ton of sense and had to happen right this very moment.
All right, so the Big 12 today made the announcement